A large bird bath made from imitation marble. It's full of water and I can't see a damn bird for miles. Now, does a bird bath in a land where it rains constantly actually make sense? A wet, uncomfortable, and somewhat shabby-looking wooden bench with the paint slowly flaking off it. A big heap of wet leaves. A gardener must have raked them together from off the lawn. That pile's not been here for long. The leaves are soaking wet on the outside, but they look drier underneath. The rain hasn't made everything wet through. That pile's not been here for long. A steel-framed conservatory. It's quite obvious that it's a newer addition to the rest of the building. Wow, the ivy must be at least 100 years old. It's already climbed up the whole building. Shame that I don't have to secretly get up to the first floor. The ivy would be an ideal ladder.
Oh, a new guest! Welcome to Gordon's Palace. My name is Murray.
Hello. I'm looking for a young woman who's spending some time here. Maybe you've seen her?
Yes, maybe I have, but maybe I haven't. You have to understand this is a discreet hotel. I can't talk about my guests.
So, she's a guest here.
As I said already, a discreet hotel.
Almost dead, one could say.
It's off-season right now. It'll get busier. This is the best hotel in Willow Creek and a place with history. This was once the sanatorium of the dreaded Robert Gordon, the Dr. Frankenstein of Willow Creek.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. He was the uncle of Samuel Gordon, the maniac murderer. Everyone thought squeaky clean Sir Robert was a respectable doctor. But in reality, he conducted illegal experiments on the sanatorium's patients. Very nasty goings on.
And then someone thought it would make a great hotel.
Of course. Immediately after the murders 12 years ago, the tourists came in throngs. They wanted to see everything. But where could they stay the night? There wasn't a hotel. So, I bought this building. The patients were taken away straight after the incident, of course. Some also escaped. So, anyway, I bought the house, had it renovated, and now it's the best hotel in the place. How many nights did you say you wanted?
Actually, I just wanted to know if you've seen this young lady. Her name is Angelina Morgan.
Now, I can't talk to strangers about guests. The hotel's reputation, you see.
I see. And if I were a guest myself, then...
Then, of course, we could have a little chat about who else has a room here at the moment.
Alright then. A room, please. For, let's say, 2 nights to start with.
Very well. That'll be £90.
So, what about Angelina? Is she here?
The young lady checked in here a few days ago. Room 13, right next to yours, sir. However, I haven't seen her since yesterday morning.
Thank you. Room 13, that's down this corridor?
Yes, sir. Your room is number 12. You do, of course, understand that I can't let you into the lady's room. As you know, the hotel has a reputation to uphold.
Huh. This takes me a step closer. I know Angelina was here. Perhaps I'll find some clues as to what she found out, and who didn't like it. whole row of old-fashioned lockboxes. Although they're only made of wood, they look like they're still tricky to break open. A whole row of a stand with what looks like tasteless postcards from tourists. They show either pictures of the village or blood-stained knives. Here's one with a screaming woman on it. Huh. Willow Creek. I was here and survived. Willow Creek. Makes your blood freeze. Willow Creek. Home of murderers. Unbelievable. You know, I can never be bothered with most postcards. But here's a card with a drawn map of the area showing the murder locations of 12 years ago all marked out. I could use the map to help me keep myself oriented. I'll take it with me.
I'll put it on your bill.
What the? A cheap plastic mask of Samuel Gordon. Toy knife with blood-stained blade. And the worst thing is that you can bet that some of my fellow humans actually buy this stuff. And what's this thing supposed to be? Huh. The original soul key. Summon dark forces and scare the pants off your friends. Lights up in 3 different colors. Gruesome sound effects. Hellish fun. Batteries not included. I can't get my head around it. And what's this thing supposed? Lights up in... I'd rather chop my hand off than buy this plastic crap from China and speed up global warming and the demise of mankind. What's that then? A soul key?
They are powerful, magical artifacts. After the murders 12 years ago, the police seized documents from the castle. Amongst them were also pictures of these soul keys. Samuel Gordon must have been nigh on obsessed by them. The police believe that Samuel had several of them.
Perhaps the devil himself gave him the order to do it.
Perhaps. What's for certain is that he killed for it, and that the keys, assuming they ever existed, disappeared when he committed suicide.
And what has that got to do with this plastic trash?
That's no trash! Do you know how expensive it was to produce thousands of these and ship them here? Pal, that cost me a fortune.
Thousands! How many have you sold?
Put it this way, I won't need to reorder in the near future. Even though they're so fantastic. But they even light up when you put a battery in them.
Oh, awesome! What's that castle out there on the hill?
That's the famous Black Mirror Castle, ancestral home of the Gordon family. There are few buildings here that have a history as fascinating and blood-soaked.
Why, what happened there?
What didn't happen there, more like? Every imaginable abomination. Murder, torture, witch burning, dark rituals, devil worship, everything.
Yeah, sure. And that's not just what you tell the tourists to make this place more interesting.
Well, perhaps it's not quite that bad, but what the people say is true. That castle is cursed. That much is certain.
Cursed.
Just look at the Gordons. An ancient family that's gonna die out. One blow of fate after the other. The latest events alone. Around 25 years ago, there was a fire in the castle, and Master Samuel lost his young wife in the flames. 12 years ago, the eldest Gordon committed suicide. He jumped from the castle tower. After that came Robert's murder and Samuel's suicide. The last surviving Gordon is Lady Victoria. She's already about 90. When she dies, One of the oldest families in England dies with her.
Sounds like bad luck, but not necessarily a curse.
It is. The castle is cursed. It makes the people crazy. How else are you going to explain one Gordon after the other completely losing it?
Some mental illnesses are hereditary. And if it's an old noble family, incest may also play a role.
Yeah. Or natural radioactivity, or poisonous groundwater. That's all far-fetched. It's a curse. Everyone knows that.
What can you tell me about this place?
Willow Creek. It's the nest in which I was born. Just like all the others you see around here. No one moves to here. Either you're born here and stay, or you're born here and leave. It can't keep hold of the youngsters anymore. They want to be in the city. The place is dying out.
Is there anything special to see here?
The museum, of course. I was significantly involved in setting it up. It's even on my land, which I've leased for a small, appropriate fee, of course. Go into the village. You won't miss it. We set it up once the flow of tourists dried up. You need to offer the people something, after all. We redesigned the rear part of the museum last year. Now it's got a lot more zip. It was my idea. None of the other people in the village have got any idea about business.
And?
You have to speculate to accumulate. You're not going to attract tourists with a couple of clay pots and carpets, are you?
How can you attract tourists?
With a show! You need to give them something. We've got 5 gruesome murders here, an old family full of maniacs, a dark curse. There must be some capital in that.
Doesn't seem to have worked all that well so far.
Alas, no. Many didn't get involved. Said you should let the dead rest in peace. We won't get anywhere like that.
Of course not.
During the first few months after the murders, it was looking really good. The papers wrote about our murders all the time. Loads of free publicity. They came from all over. Buses full. But then, well, the hype died down.
Ooh, how tragic. Hey, perhaps a couple of people should be killed every season. Then you'll get more press.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it. You haven't invested all your savings. But I'll have the last laugh. This place is gonna be on the up again.
What did you say this building used to be?
The old Ashbury Sanatorium. The legendary, the gruesome, the unfathomable sanatorium of the crazy Robert Gordon.
I see.
Sir Robert was Samuel Gordon's uncle on his father's side. He lived in the castle and was, of course, like all Gordons, completely insane. He conducted experiments on the patients here in the sanatorium. Illegal experiments. Terrible experiments.
And no one noticed?
He mostly did it at night, alone. He only had one accomplice in the village, Dr. Herman. Both were murdered before their schemes were uncovered. But strange things have been happening since their deaths. People claim to have seen spectral apparitions in these corridors, and sounds that come out of the ground.
Sure, and that's probably written large on the front of your flyers, right? A couple of ghosts would surely be good for business. It's just a shame it's absolute moonshine. What else can you tell me about Angelina?
Don't know. Nice girl. Seems to be out a lot. Always went off for a couple of hours, then back to her room, then out again.
Did you notice anything? Was she nervous? Afraid?
No, not really. She seemed to be a bit stressed. Tense. And always in a hurry. Well, that's just what young people are like.
Did you call the police when she didn't come back last night?
Why should I? She paid up front. Everything's fine.
Oh yeah, everything's fantastic. She might be bleeding to death in the woods or in the hands of violent kidnappers. But she paid up front.
Calm down. Nothing will have happened to her. Absolutely nothing's happened here for 12 years, unfortunately.
Couldn't you perhaps give me Angelina's room key?
If you buy the hotel and let me retire, then we can talk about it.
And if I forget a 50-pound note on the counter, would you go outside to look at the pretty pictures on it in the daylight?
Young man, this is a quality hotel. I can't and won't allow its reputation to be damaged.
No one will notice. There's not a soul here.
You can't bribe me, and that's that.
Thanks for the chat, Murray.
My pleasure.
Room 13. That's Angelina's room. And that's my room, number 12. First I'll get rid of this rucksack, and then I need to find a way to get into Angelina's room. That's better. Strange. The wall doesn't look like it belongs here. It looks temporary to me. It's pretty dark back there, but it looks like the passage simply hasn't been renovated. I'd like to guess that this wall's been put up just to prevent the guests in the front part of the hotel from being disturbed while the restoration work's still going on in the back. Perhaps Murray ran out of cash, or he saw that he didn't need any more rooms. Whatever the case, the renovation didn't get finished. No. The idea is very much that you sit yourself in this armchair, read one of the books from over there, while quietly smoking a pipe or a cigar. Judging by the ashtray, it looks like that hasn't happened for some time, though. It's sparkling clean. There's only a box of matches lying in it. Allardyce matches. Sounds like there's still a few in here. A box of matches, branded Allardyce. There are a few matches. There's a newspaper lying on the glass table. Maybe a service for the guests. Oh no, can't be. The paper's already several weeks old. Probably so little going on here that Murray hardly ever gets back here to tidy up. Nothing's older than yesterday's paper, but I don't have to read it. I think I'll just take a few pages. A newspaper. By the looks of it, I'd say it's a halfway serious. Let's see. A few crime stories, poetry collections, fairy tales, horror stories. Just the thing for a relaxing night in a hotel. A whole load of good books. but I don't know how they're supposed to help me in my search for Angelina. A wooden clock with a glass cover and some carving on it. Huh. What's that? The clock's just an imitation. It can't be wound up. Probably. That's my room. Like all the rooms here, a converted cell. Angelina's room's locked. I'm not gonna allow myself... A whole load of good books. I can't get it off. It's screwed on. I can't get it off. It's screwed. A card from the will. As long as I don't have any... I can't get it off. A whole load of good... A big house plant in a hefty flower pot. I can't find anything... One of the keys belongs to Angelina's room. It's number 13. An old-fashioned telephone. It's probably meant to be... Who should I call? Angelina checked in here and is staying in room 13. The guest book probably can't tell me much more. I'd rather chop my hand off. A bottle of schnapps. Maybe I could grab it while Murray's not looking. Voila! A bottle of alcohol. Murray seems to have just been eating something. I'm guessing that he's the only employee in his hotel, so he can't just go and leave his position at the counter to go and eat. The knife hasn't been used. I could use it to unscrew the clock from the wall. It's probably crockery that was intended for... A classic dark brown leather armchair, until I found Angelina. The weather still hasn't gotten... That's one of those things they use in big hotels to carry cases on. I find it rather hard to imagine them having hotel porters here. If at all, that thing was maybe used during the first months when the place opened. I'd like to bet it hasn't turned a wheel since. No. The hotel lobby's in there behind the tall windows. Very grand for such a small country hotel. That pile's not been here for long. The leaves are soaking wet on the outside, but they look drier underneath. The rain hasn't made everything. There's no way I could light this heap with a match on its own. No, I'm not doing that. I've got the crumpled newspaper in the middle, next to the leaves which aren't so wet. The newspaper's lit. The leaves next to it are just charring. They're not gonna burn, they're too damp for that. Why should I pour away the last good drops? The newspaper's burning on the inside. The smoke's coming from the... There's a few tables and... Huh. The words Gordon's Palace have just been simply printed onto the awning. Cheap. I'd rather chop my hand. A whole row of old... Murray, there's smoke outside. I hope the hotel isn't gonna burn down around our heads.
Bugger! Oh!
As long as Murray's outside putting out... Now we'd like to have that. The key for room number 13. Hopefully I might find some evidence of Angelina's whereabouts in her room.
Those little brats! They've no idea how dangerous that is. They should...
the young are really bad. Yep, that's how it's done. I've got him. 2 1.5. 2 typical 1. What's that? One of the pictures I took of Angelina. That's gotta be a clue for me. So it is. There are a few white notes on the back of the picture. Strange. There are 2 sheets of writing paper, folded twice, but there's nothing on them. Either it's a secret message written in invisible ink, or the empty pages themselves are some kind of clue. But right now, though, I have no idea myself. Little cupboard. Looks rather like an antique. And inside there's... Sleeping potion. Now could that be Angelina's? Maybe she was having nightmares from all that business. What the hell have I gotten her into? A small, brownish bottle of a liquid sleeping preparation. 3 drops from dropping off. A completely normal tube. Should I sit myself down in front of the TV and wait? A white-painted ribbed radiator. The heating's lukewarm. I don't see anything. Nothing special. Let's see. A few clothes hangers, a clothes rail, a few drawers. Everything empty and squeaky clean. Also, when I look in... A thick-walled but relatively squat glass. You'd normally be drinking a drop of the hard stuff out of this kind of glass. A thick-walled but interesting. Several cut lemons, and there's a sliver of wood stuck in one of them. She didn't eat the lemon. Here's a few sheets of writing paper. Now, the paper looks completely a thick-walled but a thick, heavy, and very old-fashioned bedspread. There are woolen threads around the edges. I can't take the cover, but I can take the wooden thread as a souvenir. It wouldn't be the first time something like that had come in useful. The bed looks old-fashioned, but not uncomfortable. I'm rather tempted by the idea of a couple hours on it. I've been on my feet for more than 24 hours now, but I really can't allow myself a break until I've found Angelina. The bed's a little to one side, as though it's been pushed around. Maybe there's something under there. Now then, the carpet under the bed has been torn up, and there seems to be some kind of metal cover there. I need to take a closer look at this. The bed's a little... Now then, the carpet... There it is. A kind of round metal cover. It was hidden under the carpet. A thick-walled but relatively... The glass is half full. The glass is half full of alcohol. The glass is half full. Great. The woolen thread is acting like a wick and soaking up the alcohol. Looks like I've rediscovered the world's oldest artificial light source. Strange. Either it's a secret message written in invisible. Awesome. My little fire's lit. It was working like that 10,000 years ago, too. Now what do I do with it? So, let's see. At last. There's Angelina's message. Sunday, 1600. I don't know what's supposed to be so special about
Willow Creek. It all seems so forlorn, poor and desolate. Hopefully I won't have to disappoint Darren. He's helped me so much, and I only now hope that I can help him too. Sunday, 9 p.m. That Porter Murray is a damned shark. He had money off me for every single bit of info. I'm not doing that again. I'll go to the library tomorrow, and there's supposed to be a town museum too. Maybe I'll pick up something there about Darren's castle. Monday, 11 a.m. Black Mirror was built in the 14th century by the two brothers, Marcus and Mordred Gordon. The brothers argued and virtually waged war with each other. To this day, descendants of the Gordon line still inhabit Black Mirror Castle. They will, however, soon die out. The last young Gordon died 12 years ago, having committed suicide. Monday, 2 p.m. I've got something on the tree symbol that Darren discovered on Boris's ring. The symbol is mentioned in the Chronicle of the Gordon family. I also stumbled across it in the library. It's the symbol of a secret society, a kind of sect that wants to summon up dark powers and uses corpses in the process. What if Boris is one of them? Monday, 4 p.m. I found out in the pub that people believe there's a curse on Blackmere Castle and the Gordon family. Maybe I'll change the topic of my degree thesis. I'd much rather write about accursed castles, though I can't see my good Prof. Hubbard being too thrilled about the idea. Monday, 9 p.m. He's here. Reginald Boris is here in Willow Creek. I've just seen him sneaking about the hotel. What should I do? Is he here because of me? Now, of all times, right when I want to investigate the passage. I'm not going to let myself be stopped, but I'll send off some insurance.
Oh man, Reginald Boris. Angelina had been doing some research, and Boris had caught her at it. Now, he's holding her prisoner, and... does he want to lure me to him? In Maine, he wanted to take me on a journey. Is this all about me? Whatever the reason for all this might be, Angelina doesn't have anything to do with it. She's got into danger because she wanted to help me. It's my fault if something happens to her. I ought to go into the village and listen around. Angelina was there. But I need to be careful. I don't know who might belong to this order that Angelina warned me about. The carpet's been cut in 2 places, and then folded up. It doesn't seem to have been glued to the floor. I can't tell when that might have happened. Could be a few hours old. A round metal plate, about 20 inches in diameter. Maybe copper? I can't say how thick it is, but it gives the impression of being solid and heavy. On the cover, and they turn. There's an animal symbol engraved on each ring, and in the middle of the cover there's a handle. It's rock solid. No chance. I probably have to set the right combination, but I don't know what it is, and there must be thousands of possibilities. A whole load of good books. Even if there was the hotel's reputation, I'd rather chop my... We all know that old one.
What do you mean?
A young, attractive lady is carrying a stack of books and lets them fall at the feet of the hero.
Excuse me? I'm the librarian here, so it's quite right that I should be carrying books around the place. Young? Attractive? Well, I'll accept that. But why do you consider yourself to be a hero?
You're the librarian? Oh, then you can definitely tell me something worth knowing about this place, Miss,
Valley. You're American?
Darren Michaels. Do I really sound American?
Oh, yes. Now let me see. Your accent is non-rhotic. That is, you don't sound the phoneme R at the end of a syllable or before consonants. And you have hard A sounds. That's the famous Boston accent.
Awesome! I really do come from Boston.
I've spent half my life in books, so something has to have stuck.
So then you can probably tell a damn Yankee something about Willow Creek?
What do you want to know?
I'm staying at the Gordon's Palace Hotel.
Really? You're letting yourself get ripped off by that old so-and-so Murray?
The building is supposed to have had a terrible past.
That's true.
It would seem that all of the male Gordons were a little bit crazy.
The curse of the Gordons.
Please don't tell me you believe in all that hokum.
I never used to.
You English. You like your ghost stories and all that a little too much.
That's the obligatory village pub. It never was a great place, but since the old landlord left, it really has gone downhill. The new landlord is Tom, the chap at the chili stall. The fair will be here for a few more days yet, but I wouldn't bet that it'll be coming back again.
The castle nearby, isn't that the famous Black Mirror Castle?
It certainly is. Its inhabitants have influenced things around here for centuries. Sometimes for the good, sometimes rather more negatively.
How do you mean that?
Everything around here belongs to the Gordons. In the old days, virtually everything that went on here was all decided in the castle. Just what could happen in the village, and what could not.
And who lives in the castle today?
Lady Victoria Gordon, the last of the Gordons, her old butler Bates, and her late brother's widow, Lady Eleanor. I think there are a few other servants too. Back there, by the town hall, is my empire, the library. Perhaps it's because there's otherwise so little going on here. There are plenty of people who like to and who do read a lot. Sadly, often all the wrong things. Trashy stuff and the cheapest pulp lit are in high demand.
Well, is there anything about Willow Creek that's worth knowing?
Not a lot. There must have been a settlement there for a good 1,000 years or so. They found remains dating back that far.
Yeah, a stone circle in a forest. So I've heard.
Yes, there's one of those. It really only kind of got going around the 13th century when there was a monastery built in the neighborhood. Also a church and the first part of a castle.
And more recently?
You're talking about the murders. That's 12 years ago now. Let's not talk about those. That's the museum. If you want to know more about Willow Creek, then that's the place to be. At least in the front bit.
What's in the back?
The newly opened Black Museum. Cheap special effects animation. Horror and titillation at others' expense.
Can you help me with the symbol? A tree where the roots reach around and up into the branches. That mean anything to you?
Where do you know that from?
You know something about it?
You ought to forget about it again as soon as possible.
I stumbled across it in Maine, and now I'd like to know if it...
Maine? You come... But you said Boston. I've still got something to finish. Good day.
Miss Valley, listen! And she's gone. What was that all about? A big barrel. It's supposed, although it's always seems to have a leaks. Although it's always seems to have a. Willow Creek Museum. That sign must have cost the townsfolk quite a bit. The library. Miss Valley. The light is off and the clock on the tower is huge. However, it seems to have stopped. That must be the town hall. There's no church in the village, but I saw one on the way here. An old rope. It's wrapped around the pole up there, and the other end disappears into the canal. I can't make out where it leads. The water's too dirty. Aha, a little bucket. Perhaps one of the residents wants to save money by collecting some of his water from the canal. The bucket is full of canal water. It seems quite clean in the bucket. At least it looks cleaner than when it was in the canal. The bucket is full of There would have been a pulley attached to that girder in the past, to lift goods into the storage space under the roof. For a bakery, it must have been built years ago. I can scarcely recognize what's on the board. It must have been written weeks ago. The wind and the rain have done their worst since then. Taking into account this country's food culture and the look of the pub, I'm not going to go to the trouble of decoding the culinary delights. The building looks like it was renovated years back, but it's been completely neglected ever since. There's dirt and dust all over the walls. A hose pipe would work wonders. The entrance to this rundown. Some hand towels. The rooms above a pub are traditionally inhabited by the landlord and his family. I don't know what these kind of windows are called. There are lots of little glass panes in a lead lattice. They're much cheaper than big panes, since you can use broken pieces in them too. Even from down here, but I don't need one anyway. That's got... The pub's still shut. An overturned beer keg. Pure show for the tourists, I reckon. Even here, they're hardly likely to still get their beer delivered in wooden barrels. Empty, exactly like in this. A chili stall. A bit tatty. And it doesn't look like there's too much. Hi there.
What would you like? Normal or extra?
What?
Normal chili or extra hot chili?
I actually didn't want any chili. I only wanted to ask a couple of questions.
Nobody gets paid for just standing around.
All those other folks can wait.
Not exactly backwards and coming forwards, are we? I like it. What do you want?
Who are you?
What's that got to do with you?
My name's Darren. I'm studying English literature and would like to learn more about the country and its people. That sound familiar to you?
Should it?
A fellow student of mine may well have been around here recently.
No idea.
You'd have noticed her. Tall, pretty...
Haven't seen her, and I'm here pretty much all day, hunkered down here. My name's Tom.
What can you tell me about Miss Valley?
She's a nutter. She's been in the loony bin. She belongs back in there too, that's what I say.
So, what's wrong with her?
She never got over what happened to her brother.
So? Come on then. What about it?
12 years ago. A series of murders. The murder that caused the biggest sensation all across the country was when little Vic Valley was killed. A little boy who was murdered by Samuel Gordon in a stone circle in the forest. And in a very nasty way, too.
That's really awful. And Miss Valley...
Well, she's the sister. She found him the next day. It really screwed her up. Stopped eating, didn't speak to anyone anymore. When she swallowed a load of rat poison, she was committed.
Oh, jeez. And in spite of all that, she's come back out now and is back living in Willow Creek of all places?
Turned up here again a few years back. The doctors reckoned it would be better for her, but once you've had roof damage, then, well, it's always gonna leak, isn't it? That's what I say.
Is the pub yours?
Where'd you hear that?
Miss Valley reckons it is.
You shouldn't get involved with that nutter. She's a few sandwiches short of a picnic.
When's the pub open?
This evening, after I've shut down the store. Those commercial Einsteins in the town hall make me keep open from 11 in the morning to at least 5 p.m. And in the meantime, I've sold just about sod all. If it was down to me, I'd have chucked all this lot here in the harbour by now. Shoved it up the Lord Mayor's arse.
So, not exactly a lot going on round here then.
You think I don't know that? Crowds of folk from all over the place. Loads of hungry customers, you said. And then it's getting worse by the year.
Isn't Willow Creek also a bit too small for a fair?
Those clever pillocks in the town hall had it all worked out. They reckoned that people from all round these parts would come here. It used to work out okay too. Everybody wanted to come and have a look at the murder capital. But nowadays, it's just one big loss maker.
The people just aren't gonna be drawn here by a couple of carousels and a few stalls.
And who has to foot the bill for all these fantastic ideas? Me.
What can you tell me about the museum?
That's another brilliant idea from the town hall. Who, I ask you, wants to see that load of old crap in there?
What can you tell me about Willow Creek?
No idea. I was born here and I'll die here, I suppose.
Doesn't exactly sound like there's much going on here.
So there isn't. 10, 12 years ago, it was good here for a while. You could make good money, what with all the tourists. We all thought things were on the up, but it never was. Loads of people lost money, they invested, and then bit by bit the visitors stopped coming.
Yeah, take old Murray and his hotel, for example.
It's still kind of half okay there. He's got a finger in most things round here and takes his cut. There's plenty more, though, that really caught a cold. They went bust. 2, 3 of them hanged themselves.
I need to get on. I don't mean to disturb. Public festival. Only, and at least 2 stalls, and it's simply Willie's Texas Chili. Chili, hot chili, super hot chili, Guatemalan hellish hot chili. Well, looks like they might... Huh. Gas bottles. A red and a blue one. Probably to fuel, but I wouldn't bet on it. A chili stall.
The flight was supposed to be cheap, but the airport is in the middle of nowhere. The taxi here was more expensive than a private jet.
Calm down, Albert.
And on top of that, your friend's guidebook is totally out of date.
You were happy that we didn't have to buy one. No one could have guessed that so much would change here within a few years.
Yeah. Just shut up, okay?